We're in Seminole County, Florida, for the arraignment of 74-year-old Mark Schmitter. He's accused of trespassing and resisting an officer without violence. 1 month earlier, Schmitter entered Jason's Deli in Altamont Springs wearing a protective face mask, but later approached the self-serve salad bar without the mask, violating the restaurant's COVID policy. When asked to put the mask back on, members of the deli staff say Schmitter refused. For his part, Schmitter claims he wasn't given the chance to comply before they told him to leave. Schmitter claims his constitutional rights were being violated and insisted the police be called. Officers arrived to investigate.
Yeah, you should probably record the whole thing that everybody knows.
Well, sir, I just spoke with the manager there.
Right.
They've asked you to leave.
They demanded I leave.
Right. Are you gonna leave?
No.
You understand that's a crime in the state of Florida. You can be arrested for that.
No. They have to, first of all, issue a no trespassing order.
That's the warning right there. What's your first name?
I'd rather not give my name.
I'm just, what do you want me to call you?
Call me Honey.
Schmitter argues that the restaurant cannot kick him out since it's open to the public, but he's mistaken. It's private property, and the owners have the right to demand he leave. The officers try to convince Schmitter to comply, but he is not ready to go.
You have your ID on you?
No, I never carry ID.
Okay. My patience is running thin. If you're not going to give me your name and date of birth, you're going to go to jail.
Honey, I'm not fighting you here.
No, we're not saying Listen, sir. Listen, sir. I'm going to ask for your name and date of birth when I click my pen, and if you do not tell me, you're going to jail. Is that worth it?
I got another question, may I?
What is your name?
How do you know if I'm giving you the right one?
I'm done.
Okay, wait a minute. I got another question.
No, I'm done.
870.
Stand up for me, turn around, place your hands behind your back.
I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting a federal law because I'm a fight you.
I gave you every opportunity.
Schmitter was arrested and released on a $1,000 bond. Today, he's in court in front of Judge Frederick Schott for arraignment, where he must enter a plea.
And Mr. Schmitter, you're with us.
I'm here on special appearance with a natural person with my name lawfully and properly spelled in upper and lowercase letters.
All right, well, on your birth certificate it said Mark Edward Schmitter, right?
Yeah, but it's in capital letters and that's a fraud.
I know you got stuff off the internet to ask so that you can try and get out of this. None of that works, okay? You are part of our country. You are part of our county.
Schmitter has chosen to represent himself, but he's assigned a public defender as standby attorney. The prosecutor offers a plea deal to avoid a trial.
Counsel, is there an offer to Mr. Schmitter today?
Yes, Your Honor. 6 months of supervised probation, 20 hours of community service, and a letter of apology to the police officer.
And Judge Schott exercises his right to make his own deal.
From me, today only. You pay $263, you write a letter, and you're all done. No probation, no jail, no community service. What option would you like today?
No, I just soon go to court.
You want to try? Okay.
Schmitter's public defender throws down his pen in disbelief that his client is rejecting the judge's deal.
Okay, the charges are a trespass in a structure or conveyance consisting of a refusal to depart Jason's Deli, punishable up to 60 days in jail, and the charge of resisting an officer without violence.
I don't understand the nature of the cause of the charges.
Well, your attorney will be happy to explain
I
it.
don't want an attorney.
I just explained it to you.
I object.
The judge tries to move on to the point of today's hearing, entering a plea.
Are you going to plead no contest or are you going to plead not guilty?
I don't understand the charges. I can't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Then you have to enter a plea.
No, I don't have to enter a plea.
If you refuse to enter a plea today, no matter what I do, I'm going to remand you.
Your Honor, may I have 2 minutes with Mr. Schmitter?
Schmitter's public defender takes him outside for a conference. He returns with a new strategy.
Under duress and under threat of jail, I make a plea of not guilty.
Finally, a plea is entered, and the hearing ends. Schmitter is free on bond, awaiting trial.
Will you produce the document that has my signature that gives you jurisdiction? Will you produce that?
We're in Concord, New Hampshire, and the man bellowing at the judge is 85-year-old State Representative Dick Marple. A year earlier, the New Hampshire lawmaker was charged with driving after having his license suspended.
Please rise. Congressman, your court is now in session.
Today is the first day of trial, but this simple suspended license case might not be so simple after all.
State versus A. Marple.
You might notice Marple is not at the defense table, and that's because as a sovereign citizen, he does not believe the court, or Judge Kristen Spath, have jurisdiction over him.
State ready to proceed. We are in the call for state.
Madam Magistrate,
Yes.
I am here under threat, duress, and coercion. I'm not here because of an order, because you as a magistrate cannot make an order. You can only administer ministerial duties. You have no jurisdiction to judge your own jurisdiction.
Judge Spath then calmly explains the legal steps Marple can take to contest her jurisdiction after the trial is complete.
You will have an absolute right to appeal my decision.
You have no decision because you don't have any jurisdiction. You come out with what's called an order. You can't make an order because you're not a judge.
Well, Mr. Marple,
You're acting in an administrative capacity.
I continue to disagree with you.
There's no question of agreeing with the question of the law. You either obey the law or you are in violation of your oath of office.
After taking a couple of personal shots on the chin, Judge Spath once again tries to restore decorum in the courtroom.
I have 2 requests. One is that when I wish to speak, that you give me that courtesy. And when you wish to speak, I will do the same. As long as we continue to be discussing what is relevant to today's case.
There is no relevance to today's case because you don't have jurisdiction.
Not only does Marple argue the court lacks jurisdiction, but he also claims the state has no authority to police his driving in the first place.
RSA 382A 9-109 defines the automobile as consumer goods. Consumer goods do not have to be registered. Consumer goods do not have to have a, quote, license, unquote, in order to travel.
And speaking of driver's licenses, Marple doesn't believe in those either.
It's not a license. It is a photo ID that I purchased.
Still, Marple wants his back in his wallet.
I want my property back.
All right, well, that is.
I asked for it 4 times. You refused to give it to me.
Well,
That's conversion.
all right.
That is conversion. Criminal conversion.
And finally, the state representative lays it all on the line.
All right,
There's going to be a stop for it. Are you going to recuse yourself? I asked you that.
I am not going to recuse
You're not going to
myself.
recuse yourself.
I do not believe there is any valid reason for me to recuse myself. I believe that I have been fair and impartial. I can continue to be fair and impartial. We are scheduled for a trial today, and I want to let you know that the trial is going to occur today. I would urge you to participate in the trial.
I'm not participating in something that cannot exist. It is a total fraud.
The trial would proceed, but after he continues to disrupt the proceedings,
The principle is the people that I represent are being ripped off. That's what it's all about. And if you're going to continue with this, you will be paying the penalty, I assure you.
Judge Spath simply walks out of the courtroom. State Representative Dick Marple would ultimately receive a judgment of guilt through the mail and was ordered to pay a $310 fine for driving with a suspended license. Next, we're in the Broward County Bond Court in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. Shanus, Abraham Arthur Shanus, and I have been legally divorced for 31 years,
Okay.
and I have the papers to prove it.
This is 80-year-old Dolores Shinus. She landed herself in jail for resisting arrest after violating a restraining order filed by her ex-husband.
We both resided at 20 the Bend, and he paid for the apartment entirely. His assumption is because he paid for the apartment, he's entitled to do as he pleases.
I can't get in the middle of who owns the apartment.
I know, that's not the point.
My
The point I'm
is,
telling you,
I need to keep you away from him, all right?
I haven't bothered him for 31 years. Why would I bother him now?
Rather than actually getting up in arms, Judge John Hurley decides to release Shinus on a personal recognizance bond so long as she agrees to stay away from her ex-husband.
You are not allowed to call him, text him, email him. You are to stay 500 feet from him at all times. That's where he lives, where he works, anywhere in between. Ma'am, you're getting a second chance on this case. I don't particularly feel like keeping an 80-year-old woman in the jail who has no criminal record. But this is your second warning. Don't go around him again.
I swear to God and all that's holy on a stack of Bibles, I will never go near him, talk to him, call him, or
What was
even
the
look
first
at
thing
him.
you were going to swear on besides the Bibles?
All that's holy.
What?
I don't remember.
Oh.
What?
All that's holy.
All
What?
that's
Totally?
holy. Yeah.
Oh, all that's holy, yes, sir. I didn't recognize your twang.
The senior's sassy remark catches Judge Hurley off guard.
Ma'am, have you ever thought of doing a stand-up routine? Have you ever thought about that?
I did. If you pay me good money, sweetheart, I'll be there. I'm really short of funds.
Ma'am, I got to tell you something. You seem like you have a great wit about you.
I do, sir.
Yeah, so...
I mean, sweetheart, that's the only thing I have.
I've been called sweetheart in this courtroom.
Does that mean you're taking me for breakfast?
Let me ask you something, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
How have I done as a judge today? So far, how am I doing?
Not bad, but you could do better.
Can we get a drum roll with this?
With the case already wrapped up, the only thing the judge, the public defender, and all the other inmates are waiting for is one final punchline.
I got to tell you, you brighten my day, ma'am. All right?
That's what the last guy said, and then he sued me.
Good morning. Are you Virginia Wagner?
Hi, Miss Wagner.
Next, we head to Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. The defendant, 85-year-old Virginia Wagner. The charge? Reckless driving and driving with a suspended license. The vehicle? A souped-up Dodge Dart.
You had that
race car.
You had that fast car. I know you did. You didn't need that fast car.
Wagner doesn't refute the charge, but places most of the blame on the car itself.
I'm sorry it happened, but the car that I was driving was like a race car. It had an extra motor in it. The car is not going to be driving anymore.
Okay. I would recommend a $100 fine.
All right. You understand the offer from the Commonwealth is that you would plead guilty to operating on a suspended license and you would have to pay a $100 fine? I know it now. Okay, did you understand though that, do you want to accept that and plead guilty today? Yes, I'm guilty, yeah.
As a packed gallery looks on, Wagner finishes up her business. That is, until
Yes, sir.
an unusual request is submitted to the judge.
Ma'am, he wants to pay your fine.
A good Samaritan who gave his name as Mike Evans offered to pay Wagner's fine.
So, Miss Wagner, you go down.
Just sit here and I just take the paper.
Yeah, you give him your paper, and he's gonna go down there and pay that for you. Thank you, sir.
Wagner appreciated the man's generosity, but after initially accepting his money, she later returned the cash, paid the fine herself, bringing an end to Virginia Wagner's time behind the wheel.